So. So for anybody coming in, there are seats here in the front row. I know that's the splash zone, but actually we haven't done this in a while. But if you are in a row with empty chairs, if you could move into the center of the row, because we still have folks coming in, and it looks like we'll be pretty full. We have to do that again. Yep. All right, and if you're on the live stream, just know that we are getting the room a little bit set up, and then we'll start. So we begin our services by lighting a flaming chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. And on days when we all gather, all ages in here, we read together the all ages chalice lighting that should be right there. So if you would read this together with me. Somebody told me this week that the lesson that I have taught this congregation over 5 years of ministry is to be imperfect and that things going wrong is okay. So I will just say that half of our staff team is out sick today, and I have just realized that I don't know where the lighter for the chalice is. So while we sing the next song, you'll see me wander over there and light a chalice. But for right now, welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. It is good to be together. We say here that we are a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration to transform ourselves and the world. We do that every time we gather, whether it's in a small group, whether it's one-on-one over coffee, talking about what's happened in our weeks, or whether it's here in an all-ages service that we do once a year. So this is our annual Strangers Share Our Fire service. The idea of this service is to give back to our partners in the community. You'll see we'll have 4 different times to give gifts over the course of the service. We're going to do it a little bit differently this year. We have, for the first time, I think in 13 years, I'm told, a pageant happening today. Chelsea will say more about that. I'll simply say that this is an all-ages service. And what those often mean is that there are lots of moving parts today. The choir is here. There's a pageant that we have rehearsed 0 times. There are people of all ages from 6 months to probably 97 or 98. It is a good and joyful thing. The noise of being together is the noise of a healthy church. So, with that, we don't have a song. Okay, we're just going straight in. So I will hand off to Wendy.
Okay. I have my purple on in honor of Jean, so I'm channeling Jean today. So, okay. All right. So I am giving you the voting results from our winter meeting. All 4 items on the ballot passed with large margins. There were no votes on the budget. As a reminder, the items on the ballot were the approval of our spring 2022 congregational meeting minutes, the approval of the proposed 2023 budget, and the approval of our 2 candidates for the nominations committee, Emily Cameron Chattil and Lori Stratman. Thank you to everyone who voted. Okay, different hat. A central part of our services is the time we join together as a community to mark the moments in our lives. We share with one another our joys, our sorrows, the events that mark our steps on the journey. The threads of sorrow and those of joy are intertwined in the fabric of our lives. Present for all, remembered by all. We share those threads, and then they are woven together with those of others in our community. Our joys are shared and magnified, and we are comforted in our sorrows. I invite you to type into the chat or speak into this shared space your name or the name of another you wish to be remembered in sorrow. Ellen. Dorothy and Chuck. Willie and Sheila? Sheena. Seth. Cleo. Bonnie.
Tara.
Could you repeat? Tara. Edna? Jasmine, I'm so sorry. Mark. Arlene. Okay, I invite you to type into the chat or speak into this shared space your name or the name of another you wish to be remembered in joy. Joy. Edith? Okay. I'm going to put a blurb in for our choir. I'm very happy to hear them this morning. Could you repeat that for me one more time? Danu, Usu, and Zane. Dana.
Fresh Start Home paid off its mortgage.
Fresh Start Home paid off its mortgage. Do you have any in the?
There is nothing in the chat.
Okay. Nothing in the chat. Okay. We know, too, that there are some joys and some sorrows that are yet unspoken, but still deeply felt. Let us hold a moment of silence for everything unspoken. Thank you for your presence. Are we singing a song next?
No.
No. Thank you.
There was one joy in the live chat right at the end. Marilyn Harker, a joy for a successful heart surgery for my brother. So our next reading this morning comes from the Reverend Gretchen Haley, who writes, "Here in this time we have an old story to tell, one that has been shared over and over for thousands of years, but still somehow remains unheard, still radical and risky. Breaking through into these days of darkness and cold, division and fear, interrupting the perpetual stories of violence and loss and feelings of powerlessness. Into the errands and errors of our everyday, Christmas arrives not to comfort, but to awaken. Not only to comfort, but to awaken. To reassure and also to stir us up as a new life, a life of peace and justice and courageous love struggling to be born. Wondering if we will yet be the ones who make room in our lives and in our world for the refugee, the poor, the plain, and the messy sweetness of a newborn baby. If we take the journey to Bethlehem, if we will be changed by the presence of a love that meets us where we are in the fields wherever we lay and calls us forth into a new journey, a brave and bolder life, believing that it is not too late for strong and gentle people to win, for compassion and truth to have the final say, for the bright light of hope to shine through even on the darkest night." So this is a different Strangers Share Our Fire than we have done the last few years. As in years past, we've identified 4 gifts that we'll collect over the course of the service. Household items for Fresh Start, who just paid off their mortgage. Food for our little free pantry and for Eastridge Food Pantry. Funds for the NAACP Scholarship Foundation, and warm clothing and winter items for Community Action and Centerpoint. So at different times over the course of the service, you'll be invited to come up if you've brought anything and leave it in those 4 places. There's also gifts from the congregation that people have dropped off over the last week stacked back there by the doors. So if you want to bring something up and don't have anything, or are attending for the first time, or forgot it was this service, or any number of things, feel free to go back there at any time. If you need any of the things that we're collecting, feel free to go back there at any time. So unlike the last few years, we actually aren't going to talk a whole lot about the recipients of these gifts as part of this service. We've had information about them scrolling up here before the service starts. We'll put that up again after the service. The information is in our newsletter. We can point you to these partners. But instead, we're going to focus on this old story, as Gretchen Haling puts it. So in a moment, I'll get out of the way and we'll enter into it. One last thing, if you are on the live stream and want to give, you can text UC Lincoln and the amount you wish to give to 73256. When you are giving, just select Share the Plate, and we'll split those gifts up between our recipients. The service is about story. And so for the next half hour, you're invited into this old story. It starts on a cold night with children and adults awakened to be told, "Come, look, something amazing has happened." So will you rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing this next hymn, number 233 in the Gray Hymnal, Bring a Torch, Jeanette Isabella.
Beautiful is her child. Come and see within the stable. Come and see the Holy One. Come and see the lovely Jesus brown his brow. His cheeks are rosy. Hush, hush, quietly now he slumbers. Hush, hush. Quietly now he sleeps.
So before we start our no rehearsal, have never done this before pageant, I would like to publicly thank my helpers. So Julie and Karen, Bailey, Judy, Evelyn, and Lori, thank you so much for helping today. Yes, please. Sure. Thanks, Julie. Julie has anticipated all of my needs. It's fantastic. So, the Christmas story is rooted in old tales of the winter solstice. In ancient times in Europe, when the solstice came, our distant ancestors sometimes told stories of a miraculous child born to return us to the light. Throughout the world, people tell stories of a child born who would grow up to lead humankind into a time of truth and justice. Today, we are going to recreate the old story of the miraculous birth of Jesus, but we're going to do it with our own slant. We'll draw on two early Christian accounts of Jesus' birth from the books of Matthew and Luke in the Bible. And since we take the story of Hanukkah seriously, also we're going to make this a story of freedom and liberation. And drawing on our own Universalist heritage, we are going to make this a story of hope for all people. And for today's story, I'm going to need many of you to come up here and help play the parts of some of the characters in the story. And don't worry, you don't have to speak, all right? You don't need to say anything, and you don't need to get nervous. I'm really hoping everyone's going to help out. So if you are participating, you'll have an opportunity after the pageant also to bring up your gifts if you've brought some donations. So you can wait till after the pageant is through to do that. Participants in today's no rehearsal pageant will be sent to a certain spot in the room where someone will help you with your costumes. And then when it's your turn, your helper will send you up here to Judy. Judy, where are you? Yep. And Judy will place you in the growing scene up here. So to begin with, we'll need a Caesar. Who's willing to be Caesar? Maybe an adult. I see Charlie right there looking. Yeah, there we go. And now I need some animals. A couple of cows, a pig. And I'm sure there was a mouse, maybe? And since a camel, yep, camel. Since it was the Middle East, yep, we need a camel. And you'll sit in the animal area over here by Evelyn. There you go. So if you're an animal, come over here by Evelyn. There you are. Let's see. Cows, pig, mouse, camel. Alrighty. And now we're going to need 2 shepherds, of course. Shepherds. There we go. And maybe 3 sheep for the shepherds to watch. We need some sheep. Three sheep? And Karen and Bailey are helping over there. There you go. Yep, follow that way. Over by the drum set. And next, we'll need someone particularly innocent and kind. Who? Nobody in the choir, Julie says. Nobody in the choir. Who is willing to be a messenger from God.
All right, you're good. You got angel.
Also known as the angel of the Lord. We can have up to 3 angels. We have a few angels. Angels also need to meet Karen and Bailey over there by the drum set. Oh. Stay there. Stay there, cow. It's my own daughter. I can. All right, and finally, we're going to need 3 wise people who were also royalty. Oh, there's someone looking particularly wise right there. Yep, Lori's in the corner there. Oh, we can't just have one wise person. They got to collaborate.
There we go, Stacy's wise.
And Fala, oh, fabulous. I'm loving this. All right, so that's a lot of folks to prepare. All right, that might be.
All right, so that's a lot of people to prepare. So we're going to sing while they're doing that. It will be, Oh, Come All You Faithful, 3 verses up there. And we'll go ahead and have you rise in body or spirit.
Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye, O God.
You ready to tell our story? Let us begin. All right, Caesar, you ready to help us out? There you go. We begin with Caesar saying, all the world should be registered so they can pay taxes to me. And Mary and Joseph are around. There we go. Could you please walk slowly because you're making a very long journey up the row and along the stage and back onto the chairs there. Oh, and this scene is a starlit night, so could everyone please hold your hands up like this? There you go, as if your hands were twinkling stars. All the people were required to go to the town where they had been born to register, and for some people that meant a long journey. Joseph, a carpenter, had to go all the way from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the city of David. And he went with Mary, the woman he was planning to marry, and she was expecting a child. Mary, were you walking like you were about to have a baby? Okay. They started on their long journey, traveling by day and sometimes even by night, their road lit only by stars. Joseph and Mary knew it was not going to be easy, and what, with Mary almost ready to have her baby? Can you imagine how difficult it must have been for Mary to be so pregnant and traveling at the same time? However, hi, Jesus. Unlike in our sanctuary here, the story goes they had a donkey that Mary could ride on, which we chose not to bring into the sanctuary. Harry, we're protecting the carpet, don't worry. And at least the twinkling stars made the road seem friendly. Thank you all. Yeah, there we go, yes. Well, they're in Bethlehem now. You can put your hands down. Thank you. And with that, we'll head into our next portion.
So sometimes people need that extra light in their lives. So one of the things that we can do as a congregation is to be the light for others when we share our gifts. So if you've brought household items or hygiene items for Fresh Start, or cash or a check, please bring them forward to this table over here.
When Joseph and Mary got to Bethlehem, they discovered that there was no room at the inn. But the inn was the only place in town with comfortable beds, and the only place Mary and Joseph could find to find a place to shelter was in a stable cut into the side of a hill. So they settled in to sleep there among the animals. The gentle animals welcomed Joseph and Mary into their stable. While the animals are coming up, maybe all of you can help. What would animals sound like, maybe, if they were welcoming people into their stable? Pick an animal sound, and there you go. Please take pictures of this. And that very night, the time came for Mary to give birth. It was a stable, so when the baby was born, of course, there was no cradle for Mary to lay her baby in. But one of the cows was kind enough to lend her feeding trough for a cradle. And Joseph and Mary laid their new baby there among the hay in the feeding trough. Or held on to their baby, because really, who wants to let them just hang out with all the animals here? Depending on how Jesus is feeling, we might make some accommodations. And with that, we will just hear. We're just hearing, or are we singing Away in a Manger?
We're singing.
We're singing it. All right. In that region, there were shepherds who lived for months at a time out in the fields, watching over their flocks of sheep by night. They had to watch over their sheep because there were wolves in the hills that would gladly eat a sheep if they could get one. And on this night, as the shepherds stood watching in their fields, an angel of the Lord stood before them. Oh, and these angels were truly magnificent. And the glory of the God of the Israelites shone around the shepherds. Not surprisingly, the shepherds were terrified. But the angels spoke gently. Do not be afraid, for I have appeared to bring you good news of great joy for all the people of Israel. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah. This will be a sign to you. You will find a child wrapped in strips of cloth and lying in a cow's feeding trough. Oh, I see. We're going to actually need some more angels all of a sudden. Perhaps I could ask everyone in the congregation, if you would please stand as you are willing or able. Face the shepherds and sheep and act as a host of angels. Can you all sing? Oh. There we go. And then the angel who had spoken went on to say, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth let there be peace and goodwill among all people everywhere. And there was a whole host of angels singing, and praising God, and the shepherds were amazed. You may have a seat again, angels. Thank you. Upon hearing the message from their God and hearing the songs of the angel choir, the shepherds said to one another, You ready to chat? This is amazing. Let's go up to Bethlehem and actually see the baby the first angel told us about. And being good shepherds who cared about their sheep, they brought the sheeps along. So the shepherds went to Bethlehem with their sheep. And Judy, can you guide them? Oh, into the nativity. Well, they're already in the nativity. All right. They arrived early. There we go. They found Mary and Joseph and the new baby, just as the angel had told them. And afterwards, the shepherds would tell everyone what the angel had said to them about Mary and Joseph's new baby. And everyone who heard their story was amazed. Can you all act amazed? And as for Mary, she already knew that her baby was wonderful. Look at that Jesus acting so great. Oh my goodness. What a sweetheart. But she listened carefully to what the shepherds said and treasured all she had heard in her heart. The shepherds and sheep gathered around the feeding trough, admiring the baby. Can you all look at the baby? Isn't that a sweet baby? There you go. They praised their God for this wonder of new birth, and they prayed and hoped that what the angel said would come true, that there would be peace on earth and goodwill for all people, even for the shepherds.
On Christmas Eve, we'll hear about how Mary, earlier in the story, said, "The hungry shall be fed." So we'll now pause to collect gifts for those in our community who are hungry. If you have food to donate to Eastridge Food Pantry or to our little free pantry just out here, please bring it up at this time to this table over here.
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo.
After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, 3 wise persons who were royalty from the Far East came to Jerusalem. And as these 3 wise persons journeyed their long, slow journey to Bethlehem, actually, it took them 12 days to get there, which is why we talk about the 12 days of Christmas. They noticed that their way was lit by a large and bright star. It looks like we're going to need someone to be a star. Anyone feeling particularly bright and cheery? There we go. First, the wise persons went to visit King Harold. We'll need a King Harold. King Harold, you can stay seated right where you are. It might be Steve. Here we go. And the wise persons visited King Herod. There you go. And they asked, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star in the skies, and we have come to praise him and bring him gifts." The three wise persons learned from it's Herod. Was I saying Harold? I'm Jewish. Don't give me grief about this. Herod. They learned from him about a prophecy which had been spoken long ago, that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. So the wise persons set out for Bethlehem, and as they walked, they saw ahead of them the star, as they first had seen in the far east. The wise persons followed the star until it stopped over the stable where the newborn child was lying in the cow's feeding trough. There you go. And when the wise persons entered the stable and saw the new baby, they were overwhelmed with joy at this new life. They knelt down or just gazed, whatever you feel comfortable with, to worship him, and gave the family gifts of gold, because the crowns of kings were made of gold, and frankincense and myrrh. Myrrh was what was put in the oil used to anoint kings. Just what every baby needs.
So just like the three wise kings brought gifts to the baby, we are bringing our gifts of gold in hopes of making some wishes come true. We have a goal of raising $1,000 for one of the scholarships which the NAACP in Lincoln gives every year. So if you have brought cash or check donations for the NAACP, please bring them forward and place them in this basket just behind where Chelsea is standing. We'll move aside.
We three kings of Orient all, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
So all of these people and creatures were gathered around, giving gifts and admiring this new baby. And in addition, apparently in some tellings of the story, a drumming boy provided very loud thumping. Can you all drum for me? Every person who just gave birth welcomes loud noises around their newborn, right? Okay, that's enough, Drummie. Thank you. Jokes aside, let us pause for a moment. Look at this scene. It is a special night with stars and angels and shepherds and wise people and animals, and they are all admiring a special baby that has just been born. Why would all these people stand around for such a long time to admire a tiny new baby? There's only one reason that I can think of. Because the birth of a child brings hope for the future. And for people who lived under oppressive Roman rule, all the while longing for liberation, the birth of a child must have been fraught with extra meaning. Will this be the child who leads us to freedom? Will this be the child who breaks our bonds of slavery and establishes a reign of peace and righteousness? And so it is in our world also today. In a world that seems hopeless sometimes, we still look with hope to the future. Every time a baby is born, we hope that this child will be one of the ones who leads us to a world of righteousness. And every time that we tell this Christmas story, it reminds us that we must go out and work for liberation and justice and peace. We, you and I, are the ones who are responsible for making sure the world is a better place for all the babies who are born.
One of the ways that we make the world a better place is when we help everyone feel safe and cared for. It's cold in Nebraska in the winter. If you've brought warm winter items for Centerpoint and community action, please bring them forward. We may need to move some shepherds and some sheep to make room, but we'll place these under the tree. Ah, the new tree, which was a gift from somebody in the congregation.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Roll the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. See the blazing Yule us. Fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus. Fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure. Fa la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide. Fast away the old year passes. Fa la 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses. Fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together. Fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and wet. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la
If you were wanting a photo of this but haven't yet, please feel free to do so now. Let's give a round of applause to all of our pageant characters. So pageant characters, all of you up here, please put your costumes in one of the baskets as you head back to your seat.
Or on the chair right there. We don't have a
Yep.
basket. Yeah.
There we go, chair right over there. And if you who are up here had any donations that you wanted to bring up, you're welcome to do that as we sing our last song in just a moment. Again, also a round of applause for all of the people who helped make this happen today.
Let's all sing together. Joy to the world.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let all the songs implore. On fields and floods, rocks, hills and plain, repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Fills the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glory of His righteousness, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love.
So just a few programming notes before the choir sings one last piece. First, if you still have things to bring up after the service, feel free to do so. Second, often right after this service, we would be asking for volunteers to get all of these donations to where they need to go. We are a little lacking today in staff, so we're going to do that on Tuesday. So if a couple of you want to help us bring this to the office, and then a few others, if you are free on Tuesday, we would love your help getting all of this where it needs to go. The other point of personal privilege that I'll ask is please do not tell me what the World Cup score is. Because it started at 9, and so has been going on right now, and I have it recorded at home. And the same may be true of other people in this room, so don't tell each other without consent. Okay, so we are going to tell that old story one more time on Christmas Eve in a different way. We'll be at 5:30 on Saturday night. You are all invited. We would love to have you here. We'll be in this setup again so we can hear each other sing. And then on Christmas Day, which is next Sunday, if you can believe, we'll have a relatively informal service. Unlike today. We will have a service with many, many fewer moving parts on the 25th. My plan for the 25th is just to gather in this room with whoever wants to come out and drink some coffee, tell some stories, sing some songs together. All right. With that, go in peace after the choir sings.
If you would please help me in acknowledging the great talent on our keyboard today.
That is the end of our service. Go in peace.